What if I told you that, arguably, the best Rainbow Six Siege player in the world was banned for a crime he may not have committed?
Imagine Simple in CSGO gets caught cheating, gets banned for 2 years.
That, for the better part of 2 years, Stephane Shaiiko Lebleu has been subjected to a never-ending sea of shame.
I'm telling you, he's cheating. It's Shaiiko.
He was hated.
Yeah, I'm playing Shaiiko, my guy. The biggest cheater in the game.
He was humiliated.
Why is he not in Pro League?
Because he got banned, Lebleu.
All because of one fateful encounter with Pengu, the man who, in the public's eyes, is considered to be the greatest player of all time. To this day, it isn't actually clear whether Shaiiko cheated or not, but what we do know is that he's back, and he's nuttier than ever.
He is fighting everything. There is no fear in this
Oh
man.
my God!
What a legend! Shaiiko! You can't
That's
stop
24
this man right now.
kills! 24
That's the
kills!
record.
Before we get into all that, I just want to tell you guys to make sure to tune into Ubisoft's 2019 Rainbow Six Siege US Nationals. The finals are coming up in December, and trust me, you do not want to miss it. For more about US Nationals and all kinds of Six Siege action, check out the links in our description below. Despite all of his claims to innocence, Shaiiko is the most high-profile Siege player to ever be found guilty of cheating. Because of that, he's had to watch his name get dragged through the mud by one of the most decorated players in the game.
Like, there's a reason why he got banned in Pro League.
Alright, who is Shaiiko? And how did he become the most scandalous player in Siege? Let's go back to 2017, when this 18-year-old French pub star was climbing the ranks of Challenger League with an up-and-coming roster known as B-Genius.
Par la grande salle, Shaiiko, encore une fois monstrueux, qui fait tomber Accor et très low HP, et Bolly tout seul pour un clutch 1v5. Impossible!
From the very beginning, it was clear that Shaiiko was a mechanical god. He may have been quiet and brooding in person, but once he loaded onto the server, he was explosive. The guy was like Bolo on steroids.
The way he positioned himself, it can be his body, can be his crosshair. Really, he set up himself to have like always the advantage on the fight that he's gonna take.
But the thing that really stood out about Shaiiko was his aim. Back when competitive Siege was still young and the skill ceiling seemed miles away, people thought that Shaiiko had hit it. He just had this ability to dish out incredible plays. So incredible that some people got suspicious. By late 2017, Shaiiko made his professional debut.
Shaiiko's gonna drop from attic into the meeting hall. Liven knows he's there, goes for a pre-fire, and boom, it goes!
And within 2 months, he established himself as one of the greatest mechanical talents in Pro League.
My question is, where has Shaiiko been for the past year and a half of Pro League? Like, where has he been? Where has he been hiding this talent? That's what I want to know.
But during a match against Penta, the best team in the world, someone finally got suspicious enough of Shaiko's seemingly impossible rise to the top to report him. And that person was Penta's superstar, Pengu.
A lot of rumors going on that there was some suspicious stuff going on, and no one could really point to what it was. The story was that he had more information than you humanly possibly could, so that would refer to what we call wall hacks or some sort of way to gain information that you shouldn't otherwise have as a normal human being.
And the first bout of contact, a great shot, Shaiiko. What an unbelievable kill on Junis there.
We beat them in a very, very, very close game, and we protested because we had suspicion that something was wrong.
Here and there, there's Shaiiko. He's gonna snag the downed frag onto Fabian. Moves on forwards, tags another onto KS, and then gets removed.
We then came together, the entire Pro League scene, and we spoke to the developer of MOS, which is the anti-cheating program that we use in Pro League. And we found this like macro sequence code at the bottom, and we sent all that information to ESL.
On October 11th, ESL announced that Shaiiko was banned. While they couldn't find any evidence of wall hacks, ping manipulation, or the use of a VPN, their anti-cheat software, MOS, had detected what they interpreted to be a macro. Specifically, a series of instances where Shaiiko was spamming his 4 key at an allegedly inhuman speed. And just like that, without any notice or even a chance to respond, Shaiiko and his entire team were disqualified from Pro League. On top of that, Shaiiko got slapped with a 2-year ban, all for a crime he swore he didn't commit.
La question qui me vient tout de suite à l'esprit, c'est ça te fait pas chier de savoir qu'une partie de la communauté va juste te considérer comme un cheater qui a purgé sa peine?
Si, mais ça je vais le prouver, je vais leur prouver comme quoi en faisant des LAN et tout que j'ai pas cheat en fait, je suis toujours le même. Même après le ban, je suis toujours le même et ils vont bien le voir en fait, ils vont bien le voir.
I wrecked him, he cried. Got a FL and I got the damage.
Immediately, B-Genius mounted their defense. They compiled a 19-page report of all the pro players whose Moss files were similar to Shaiko's.
I don't think it was really a macro. I think it's just like either a sort of glitch or just a line that appears when the keyboard can't register the key being pressed as fast as he did.
Next, they released what they claimed was video proof that Shaiko's 4 key was assigned to his primary gadget, not recoil control as many people in the community had speculated.
What I personally believe is that key was just pressed a lot of times, and at the time that the keyboard or the computer registered it couldn't. Like it was a bit too fast. You press it very hard, especially on 4 when he's playing with Ibana. So it's happening because he has to activate the X Kairos. So he's like pressing 4, 4, 4, 4 and smash it so it activates as fast as possible.
His teammates even released an hour-long YouTube video demonstrating how unreliable Moss can be.
Moss n'a pas détecté la macro.
But it didn't matter. ESL never even responded to B-Genius's claims.
Let's be honest, it was kind of poorly handled. Like it feels like it wasn't a sure thing. It wasn't like very mastered, very controlled.
News of Shaiko's ban spread through the Siege community like wildfire. On one hand, there were people who were celebrating that justice was being served. On the other hand, some people were in disbelief, or even disappointed. A lot of this had to do with the fact that Shaiko's biggest detractor was Pengu, one of the biggest Siege players in the world.
Where did I get all these infos? I found it. I am the person that got Shaiiko banned. I protested him. That's me.
It didn't take long for the community to start memeing at Shaiko's expense either. Slowly but surely, he went from the most talented player to ever touch the game to a pariah.
Yeah, I'm playing Shaiiko, my guy. The biggest cheater in the game.
But despite all the ridicule, Shaiiko stuck with Siege. He never switched to another game that he could have played professionally. Instead, he just spent all of his time trying to become a better fragger.
If he cheated, like if there was some like a cheater who would get banned, like you would say, fuck it, I'm gonna just go to another game or do something else. If he was not cheating, if indeed like all he wants to do is to say maybe, okay, I have a real big potential here and I just want to do my best to come back as soon as possible. Instantly when he knew that he had like a chance to compete again in Rainbow Six, he stayed there and kept grinding the game.
And it also became clear that his talents weren't limited to Siege. It didn't take long for people to start wondering if maybe Shaiko's ban was BS. Maybe Moss made a mistake and Shaiiko was just too good at Siege at a time when people weren't ready for it.
I never really looked into it, never like looked at like, I know a lot of people looked at it as like Moss, like his screen capture, like his keylogger thing for anti-cheat, but I don't know. It's very, I've heard from like credible sources that he did, and then you never really know.
In April 2019, something unexpected happened. Shaiko's ban was lifted early, thanks to some sort of ESL orchestrated rehab. He was immediately signed by BDS esports, and after qualifying for European Challenger League, began preparations for DreamHack Montreal, his first LAN since the game that got him banned. Now, many people expected Shaiiko to go ham, given that he had something of a bone to pick. What they didn't expect, though, was one of the most dominant performances in the history of the game.
No fear in this
Oh
man.
my god!
He's you cannot
That's
stop
24
this man right now.
kills! 24
That's the
kills!
record.
And as fate would have it, BDS was matched up against G2, which meant that Shaiko's next opponent was the man who got him banned, the man who'd won 3 world titles since that ban. And Shaiiko was out for blood.
A little bit more damage and chooses to play it a little bit more safe. Free fires once again, and Shaiiko finds him through the wall, through the hole that was made. Shaiiko is literally like the John Wick of Siege, man.
Shaiiko finds another Fate, and that's Smoke dead. Goga is all alone here. 1 versus 4, not even gonna find the first one. Shaiiko closes it out. Shaiko's in a great spot to find another kill here. If things quiet down, going off. He finds Pengu! What? And Babian as well! A triple for Shaiiko! This is an unreal performance. It's 2 versus the world. They don't have an inch in this round. Shaiiko finds a 4th. He's looking for the ace. BDS is just powered up.
Yeah,
they're powered up. They're max. Look at that Paynex just peeks. They are running at maximum power.
Flawless round.
BDS went on to finish 3rd at DreamHack, but in the months since, the hype around Shaiiko has escalated into a full-blown fever.
He dropped 25 kills in one game against Luminosity, one map against Luminosity that they lost that map, by the way. He was by far the most dominant player of the entire tournament. And yeah, I mean, how is that for revenge? How is that for a story? I mean, it was so fascinating to watch. It really was.
We may never know for sure exactly what happened in that match with Penta. But what we do know is that right now, Shaiiko is one of the greatest players to ever touch Siege.
I don't think anybody can deny that he is just like mechanically gifted. Like he's got crazy movement, crazy aim, and he's a good player. Like regardless of his past, you know, anything that's happened, if it did or did not, you really can't deny that he is just a, I guess you want to say, beast.
The question is, will he ever be able to remove the stigma around his name?
But he's not a bad player whatsoever. Like you look at him now, even after all this stuff has happened, and he is by far a really, really, really good player. And that's why a lot of people are sad about it, because it was wasted talent. Because he probably would be up there in top 5 in the world, probably.
But given that he's proven himself on LAN, people are warming up to the idea that Shaiiko might be the real deal after all.
He can be the best player in the world, whether off his pass or not.
It's not like everybody's calling him a cheater. I think for the most part, he's kind of, it's like 50-50, basically. If you ask one person, you know, yeah, he's a cheater. If you ask the other person, he's a beast. So I think he's in a decent spot considering the past.
And after all that, Shaiiko and BDS qualified for Pro League Season 11.
BDS go into Pro League!
That means that he and Pengu will face off again and again, getting a chance for revenge and to prove his innocence.
Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages.